No pain, no gain. That certainly is the case in the NFL, among other sports. And each week, Jeff and I will take a look at the real injuries around the NFL and give you the fantasy impact of them all. And we start with two quarterbacks, and a lot of controversy started with this one. Jay Cutler hurt his thumb. He's now going to be out for the year, according to the Chicago Bears, team that sort of is heading in a pretty good direction. But Ben Roethlisberger had a thumb injury, and he played with it. First of all, Jeff, are these the same injuries?
They're not, and it's really funny we're talking about this now because my first time on with you guys was right after MCL Gate with Jay Cutler, and we were kind of questioning his toughness, and I said it was unfair, and I think, again, it's unfair to compare the two. Big Ben's broken thumb isn't the same injury. It's not displaced. Cutler's broken thumb is displaced, so he needs surgery to fix that and make sure the bones align properly and heal properly. They're already saying he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks, likely the remainder of the regular season, possibly the postseason, depending on how fast and quickly this can heal. He's scheduled for surgery today. But for Roethlisberger, it's not quite as big an issue. It's going to affect his grip a little bit, quite how tight he can hold on to that ball. But, he's dealt with this injury in the past. He had a similar injury in 2005, and he went ahead and led the Steelers to a Super Bowl. So if I've got Big Ben, I'm not too worried about this injury currently. He'll likely have a glove on, have it taped up. But for Cutler, fantasy owners who have that shortened season, it looks like he's going to be done for the season. And unless you're in a keeper league, I'd start looking for somebody to pick up in his place.
Let's take a look at a tweet that came out about Roethlisberger and a comment that he had. Coach Tomlin told me not to throw today, but I was like, I want to get some reps. I want to throw some. So his was actually a case where it was pain. It wasn't the injury. It wasn't surgery. It was pain that he had to deal with, right?
Yeah, and we've seen with Big Ben that he's, a tough guy and able to play through a lot of these injuries. I think he's this kind of generation Steve McNair, a guy that's always going to be on the injury report, but always is going to be out there playing. Mm-hmm. It always seems to be one thing or other with Roethlisberger, but he's able to play through him. He's a tough guy. I think his size definitely helps out. He's got a little bit more girth than some of the other quarterbacks, but that helps him absorb some of the contact and play through some of the pain. And when you're a Pittsburgh quarterback and you play for a town like that, you have to have a tough mindset. And I think Roethlisberger's adopted that, and I really think he's going to continue to play and try to be as effective as always.
So I think I know the answer to this question. I'm going to ask it anyway. When it comes to Jay Cutler, the fact that he's going to have surgery, the fact that reparations need to be done, it's probably unfair if there is any criticism out there of him saying, well, look what Roethlisberger did. Yeah, you can't do any more damage to your thumb, so wrap it up and go out there and play. That's probably unfair criticism, isn't it?
Yeah, because Cutler, it's about stability, Yeah, Big Ben has a broken finger, but he still has the ability to move it and grip it. There's likely some tendon and ligament damage with Cutler. The bone is probably not aligned, and he's not able to use it like he normally has. And if he goes out there, you're talking about a long-term injury that could completely alter his throwing mechanics, the way he grips a ball. So they have to go in there, put pins in it, fix it up, align the bone, make sure it heals properly, and really work on his strength during that time off to continue to have that good grip. But, like I said, the likelihood of him coming back this season in a fantasy standpoint is very small to none.
So Caleb Haney is the guy who's forced into the spotlight. They're playing Oakland in an interesting game, Chicago at Oakland this week. Boy, it's been the year of the young quarterback, everybody from Cam Newton to Blaine Gabbert. But Caleb Haney is a guy who people forget was one drive away from taking the Chicago Bears to the Super Bowl when Cutler didn't play with that ligament. Is he in a good position to maybe put up some fantasy numbers this week?
I think they're going to rely heavily on the run. They're probably going to use Forte Tons, spell him with Marion Barber, former Cowboy. But I really think, they're going to ask him not to mess up, and that's not always the biggest weapon for a fantasy owner to use. You can do better at this point. Right now, we're past the buys. They're no longer an issue. So you should be starting your everyday quarterback, the guy you drafted high on the list. If you had one of those guys that's out for the season like a Matt Castle, I'd consider maybe picking up Caleb Haney more to manage, especially in 2 quarterback leagues. But I think there's some other guys, like you said, some younger guys that are still on the waiver roster or waiver wire that you can pick up in place of the injured Cutler.